I love the fact that the house was built by Hugh Cathcart Thompson, and Hugh Cathcart was the original, or he was the builder of the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, the world famous Ryman. And I love that there are very few houses and buildings that are left that Hugh Cathcart Thompson did. So it's really exciting to have this home and take good care of it, just as everybody else who's lived here has done. But it's an interesting piece of history. I learned about the house when my son was we were living in Nashville, and he had an appointment out here in Franklin, and so I was just looking through the RealTrex app at properties that are for sale and found this listing. And I've always been in love with this house. I lived over on Fair Street years ago and walked past this house all the time, and it reminded me of a dollhouse, the way that it looked from the outside. There's 7 fireplaces in this house. I love the history of the house. I love just the different things about the different wood floors, and finding out that these 2 parlors, that these floors would have been covered in carpet back in the Victorian days, because the wood was not considered to be a precious wood. And then the other rooms of the house, the wood is exposed because it's a much more precious, and they're thinner boards, and just learning the ins and outs of the house. And the fact that our basement is from the original house on the property that was built in 1802. So that was kind of scary. Well, then it's interesting too, certain little things about the house, like the entrance to the basement from inside was originally not there. When you walk in and look to the left, you see the original wallpaper for the stair hall. And what happened was, when they put the side porch on in 1910, they had to cover up the storm doors, so they needed an entrance to the basement, so that's why the door was put in over here. Well, the kitchen was originally the dining room of the house. This room was used as a parlor, and then the 2 rooms were parlors, and then the side door here that leads into what is now the kitchen, that was a concrete floor, because of course back in those days the kitchen was separate from the house for heat reasons, and also the room where the fire, they didn't want to get they wanted to contain the kitchen. So the dining room, that's the kitchen now, had a lean-to that was on the side of the house, and you can actually see that on the brick exposed wall on the other side. You can see the outline of the house. Some of the things that we did when we renovated, so when we bought the house, the people who had lived here, their children were grown, and they were much more of a glamorous life. So all the rooms were painted in varying shades of brown, and it was beautiful, but Ridley kept saying, "You're gonna paint," and I'm like, "I'm not painting. Like, we're saving money, we aren't painting." And then one night we came out and we brought air mattresses and spent the night, and I woke up the next morning and I immediately called Ridley. I'm like, "We're painting." Like, this is too dark for us. Like, we need it to be light and bright. And then also the same thing too, the boys were running in and out of what used to be the original dining room, which is now the kitchen. There was a window there, and they were running through and jumping with our dog. And Ridley was here at the time, and I was like, "This is bad. Like, this is gonna end in somebody going to the hospital, teeth popped out, broken arms." And so that's when Ridley was like, "Let's put in a bar here." But so where the bar is now used to be a covered porch that wrapped around the back of the house. I love my bedroom upstairs. I love the big windows. I love the fireplace. There is just something so soothing and comforting about that room. And also too, I love that every time you look out the window, that view is never gonna change. It's always gonna be the same. It's fun living in this house because we'll have tourists who come by and take pictures all the time. And my boys, we're so accustomed to that if somebody's outside taking pictures, like, we'll duck. We will get out of the way because they don't need to see us in their pictures. But they fall in love with these historic homes. They fall in love with the charm of the neighborhood. Everybody who lives here takes such good care of their homes, has such pride in their homes. Landscaping is beautifully done, just everything, so that when people come to visit, they're getting that historic feel. But it invites people in, and it invites them to stay. I'm so glad we have the hotel down the road now. I'm excited about Franklin Grove, which is underneath the Heritage Foundation. It's going to be art museum, botanical gardens. The Lee Buckner School is there, which is being restored and preserved. And there's just so many, the History Center of the Heritage Foundation just, open. There's so many things to come and do where you can just stay in Franklin, as opposed to what it used to be, you just didn't have all those factors. So, it would be a 30-minute trip to Franklin, for lunch and dinner, and now you can just stay.